Hello, my fellow YouTubers. This is Roy back again. I felt before the 15 video series on how to levitate with Leedskalnin should start appropriately with his book. And that's a book that I have here, which is Coral Castle, an engineering feat almost impossible to believe. That's an older book that I had from the 80s. And inside that book, we're going to start with magnetic current. And what I want to do is go through the preface of the beginning of the magnetic current. For number one, important emblem. Leave your comments on the emblem. Leave your comments. This is written by Leedskalnin. He wrote this at Rockgate, which was the first location. Homestead, Florida, USA. It was copyrighted August 1945 by Leedskalnin. And the first part of his book is magnetic current. Now, today's video is going to open up a couple things. One is your eyeballs, your mind, your out of your envelope in ideas and concepts. And also it's going to open up just the first page. And we're going to stop at the end of this paragraph because he gets into his experiments right about here. Do me a favor. This is also prequel video. What I want to do is in the 15 videos on how to levitate with Leedskalnin is on a due process of all the ingredients it takes and how to build them. This is his book. We're going to start off in the beginning, the magnetic current. It says, this writing is lined up, so when you read it, look east, and all the description you will read about magnetic current, it will be just as good for your electricity. All I'm going to say is that raises the first question. What is he talking about? I like to stare at the wheel turn. What is he talking about? So leave your comments on that. Secondly, the following is a result of my 2 years experiment with magnets at Rockgate, 17 miles southwest from Miami, Florida, between 25th and 26th latitude and 18th and 81st longitude west. That's his coordinates of the first location. Leave your comments on that. First, I will describe what a magnet is. You have seen straight bar magnets, U-shaped magnets, sphere or ball magnets, and alico magnets in many shapes, and usually a hole in the middle. In all magnets, one end of the metal is North Pole and the other South Pole, and those which have no end, one side is North Pole and the other side is South Pole. Leave your comments. Let's get into some good stuff. Now about the sphere magnet. If you have a strong magnet, you can change the poles in any shape, in any side you want, or take out the poles. So where the sphere will not be a magnet anymore. From this, you can see that the magnet can be shifted and concentrated, and also you can see that the metal is not the real magnet. The real magnet is the substance that circulates in the metal. Each particle is a substance, is an individual magnet by itself. And both North and South Pole individual magnets, they are so small they can even pass through everything. Is he talking about scalar waves? They are so small they can pass through everything. In fact, they can pass through metal easier than through air. They are in constant motion. They are running one kind of magnet against the other kind. And if guided in the right channels, they possess perpetual power. North and South Pole magnets, they are a cosmic force. They hold together this earth and everything on it. Each North and South Pole magnet is equal in strength, but the strength of the individual magnet does not amount to anything. To be practical, they will have to be in great numbers. In great numbers. Now, I wanted to start talking about other things right now, but I'm restraining myself, because I have to bring in the next sentence, this next paragraph, and we'll stop there real quick. In the permanent magnets, they are circulating in the metal in great numbers, and they circulate in the following way. Each kind of magnet are coming out of their own end pole and are running around. They are running in the other end of the pole and back to its own end, and then over and over again. All the individual magnets do not run around. Some run away and never come back, but new ones take their place. The Earth itself is a great magnet. In general, these North to South Pole individual magnets are circulating in the same way as a permanent magnet metal. The North Pole individual magnets are coming out of the Earth's pole and are running around the Earth's North Pole and back to its own pole. And South Pole individual magnets are coming out of the Earth's North Pole and running around, and Earth's South Pole back to its own end. Then both the North-South Pole individual magnets start to run over and over again. Like he talks about into the future of the book, about his perpetual motion holder. How it will hold, it's not a magnet, but the substance is trapped in the metal. Let's read just a little bit more. In a permanent magnet, barred between the poles, there are a semi-neutral part where there is not much going in or out. But on the Earth, there is no place where the magnets are not going in or out. But the magnets are running in and out at pole ends more than at the equator. Very important there. We're going to stop the first, not the first series videos. I will say in the title, Series 1. This is not Series 1. This is a prequel. I have to put a lot of information out to you guys so you can reference back into the book in different segments of his experiments. I think we need to run through the experiments first before you get to 15 videos how to levitate, because basically it's in plain sight what he's talking about. It's so obvious what he's talking about, and it's so prehistoric, or the better word, barbaric is the righter word to say. The writer, I like that. The right word to say, only because it's how you got there. It's not so much about the solid state, the static, the things that we do and convert to, we find better ways, more efficient ways. It's more about how you got there, because we lose how you got there a long time ago. And with history, what does it tell us? It repeats itself. So basically it happens over and over and over, whether it's pyramids, whether it's back dinosaur days, whether it's pre-dinosaurs, where it's to where people at one time didn't even have to talk to communicate. They already knew what each other was saying. So that means they were connecting all of the neurons in their capillaries in their brain in order to communicate, telegraph, or even stronger than telegraph would be a scalar wave. Because what I've come to realize is that electromagnetic is so barbaric in communication and in signaling, but it's the raw, as Ed would say. See if I can find it here in one of his little papers, but where he said in his cosmic writings, to where it is, I believe it's in minerals and animal life. There's his perpetual motion holder. But I believe in there, he talks about where do our bodies get our magnets from? You know, to get magnets from zinc, we have to put zinc and acid in batteries where it can be dissolved. Our digestive system is like a battery, but more complicated. We get magnets from the food we eat. The acid and other digestive juices dissolve the food and liberate the magnets to be used for other purpose. And that's the key to his liberation. And that's where scalar waves come in, from electromagnetic pulses, from longitudinal waves, as Eric Dollard would say, as Tesla would say, is these are the lowest form of communication for mankind, I would almost say. It's high in mankind back in the day, but it's the lowest right now. It's something that, you know, has its inverse square law about itself, to where it only can go so far based on its amperage, based on its pulse rate, and based on its rate of change, you would say. You guys follow me here? Leave your comments. Hope I'm not rambling or talking too much. What you're looking at here is, you see that this is just a mock-up setup for future build videos that we're going to do in the 15 video series, and each video is probably going to be an hour. So yeah, put some time away. So it ain't just like wham bam, show you the end and here we are, we floating anything. And if you change the frequency of it, it melts it, or it disintegrates it, or it explodes it. Even better, it stays together. And what happens? It floats in the air. Why would it do that? It's called canceling. Does canceling sound familiar when it comes to a speaker, or when it comes to sound waves? Propagation in sound waves, speed of sound. Does that ring a bell, anybody? What happens when you hear a jet running through the air and it goes by you? You don't even hear it going by. Well, you barely do. And then behind it, it's got to be going over 700 plus miles an hour, but then you hear the whole enchilada of it coming behind it. Why is that? It's running faster than sound can run. Why? Sound is one of the lowest barbaric ways we could have. Sound. But it's everything to us. Why? Because that's how we are. We're barbaric. We're humans. It's hard to conceive things outside the norm, or it's even harder to challenge the trained individual mind who is trained in different precise types of electronics, structural, engineering, electrical, biologist, biology, chemicals, all the best trained get stuck in what I call the envelope. And when you're in the envelope, you are the envelope. You wear the color of the envelope. You wear the shape of the envelope. You wear the thickness and the size of that envelope. And you also wear the weight of that envelope. You know who you are. You're part of it. It's to the open org people who I speak to. The people who want to share different tidbits of different parts of every envelope that's out there. And we have to thank, all just bow our heads right now and just thank Tesla, Nikola Tesla. Before him was only studies. After him was generations of countries, development, military development, countries, everything excelled. Everything you think you can think of, Tesla has something to do with it, especially if it has anything to do with the North and South Pole magnets, like Leedskalnin talks. And if you think about Leedskalnin, he wrote magnetic current. Tesla was already past his prime, already done that, been there. If you're thinking of it, it's because of me. Who else can claim that fame? So bow your heads to Nikola Tesla. He is, in my eyes, in my heart, in my spirit, a human being who contributed to mankind at one of its fullest, maximum potentials. He talks about it, he preaches it, he studies it, and how he stayed alive so long messing with that stuff. He might as well been drinking acid. Why? Because the stuff is lethal. All you have to do is get the wrong frequency. What happens? It's bitter. It don't smell good no more. It don't even feel good. My skin is irritated. My eyeballs hurt. Should I say more? So, on a positive note, Nikola Tesla, I envy you, I praise you, and I bow to you, Nikola Tesla. I bow to you. And I bring on our brother, Leedskalnin. In layman's terms, he's going to take Tesla's work, he's going to take Wilhelm Reich's work, and he's going to take Dr. Skorsky's work, and he's going to show us what crystals, electromagnetism, scalar waves, longitudinal waves, all have to do in order. He's given us the recipe to the dough book on how to levitate. He's given us the recipe on what the basis is on this subject. Levitation. Being able to control substance. All elements are polarized. All virtuals are polarized. And when I say virtual, I'm talking about a virtual ground or a virtual opposite of what is possessed into the open space of the medium. Leave your comments. Love you all. Once we get these top, we're going to have this pole, 6 feet in the ground, grounded rod, connect it. What Ed was talking about here will reflect back a little bit on that the magnets don't have to be in strength, and we just have to start the process. And it says that it's the permanent magnets that are circulating in the metal in great numbers. They are circulating in a following way. Each kind of magnet is coming out from their own end and pole and running around and running in the other end of the pole. So here's our pole. Here's our pole. Up top, it'll be, well, how things work in nature. It'll be flopping. South, north, south, north. On the bottom end is connected to ground. What'll happen in between the two poles, the space in between here, is where we'll bring in our antennas. And what will our antennas be? Our antennas are going to be cone A and cone B. They will be running off of the PMHs. The PMHs will be simultaneously flopping poles here and here. What's going to happen is when this pole and this pole are flopping, they will be opposite polarity. Well, they'll be at opposite phases. And those phases will create a wave in between both poles. And so will the other poles. So when they flip on the other side, you're getting a ring bell twice. And it's important I say this and end this video with the ring bell twice, because it does get bigger than that. And what we have to do is we'll get into sound waves, we'll get into pitch. Because one thing, Ed's, when I went down to Homestead, Florida, went to the public library and pulled up some of the affidavits, and there's a lot of them too. There's a bunch of affidavits on Leedskalnin, of people talking about Leedskalnin. And what they did hear coming out of his place is a high pitch. So we're going to have to get in deep on sound waves, on taking a piece of coral rock. I got plenty of piece of coral rock here. That's from Homestead. Same coral rock that Leedskalnin's dealing with. Same materials, same everything. I'm just telling you, I have it. And basically what we're going to do with that coral rock is we're going to test it for density, for sound, and we're going to try to match its elements along with its composition and structure and how it's honeycombed, which is very important because it's the little chambers that make up the whole thing. And what we're going to do is replicate the harmonic of the frequency, starting off slow wheel. The wheel will not turn fast. It'll turn slow. It'll start the process. It'll go into the PMHs. PMHs will simultaneously will create a out of phase pulse, which will go into two of the glass bottles, which will be wrapped with steel iron wire around the outside, going in a figure eight. So it'll be going around both bottles in a figure eight. In the middle of the figure eight, in between the dielectric of the glass and airspace, very small, and the bottom of this bottle and the bottom of that bottle will be tied together, and there'll be a wire that comes up through the center, even though it's wrapped around the outside, through the center, back around itself down into a coil, a copper coil that goes in each pipe. It does get sophisticated, it does get elaborate, but yeah, it's barbaric in its sense. If you were an engineer looking back at it, you wouldn't even mess with it. But I don't know any different, so I'm here. I'm playing in the dirt. Let's play together. Leave your comments. Hopefully you appreciate this. Bye, my brohams. Love you all. Be safe. Don't believe the bullshit, and stay true to yourself. Love you all.